this matter of the Niger coup is featuring prominently on the front page of most of the papers this morning, talking about the imposition of sanction by the ECOWAS and also talks that broke down, UN talks that broke down just yesterday with regards to this coup, and also that the junta has named the former minister as prime minister as it is. Now, ECOWAS has said it is slamming through the CBN imposition of sanction on those who are supporting the coup, countries who are supporting the coup. Talk about Burkina Faso, Mali, and the likes. And the Iowa Consultative Forum is not particularly happy with the sanctions. He's saying that the forum is saying that the government should tread with caution. The ECOWAS community should tread with caution because of some of the states bordering in neighboring countries around, Niger as it is. And we know how the borders are, how closely knit, some of these communities are. And that instead of that, the government should lift the sanctions and, hold talks instead. Although the government is saying that military invasion is still on the table, but it is looking at diplomacy. That's what the focus is now. ECOWAS is saying that. And that diplomacy is the way forward, although military action is still on the table.
Right, and the government also went on to say it was the last option. And, it's, well, there's still a lot that needs to be done. Earlier in the week, was it yesterday, when we were speaking with, another round of analysts or another set of analysts on the matter, it was promising, because I recall we asked one of the analysts a question yesterday about, optimism, on his part as to this lingering impasse. You noted a defiant, Nigerian side, even though the government had said, or the ECOWAS, side had said, military option is definitely on the table, but it would be a last option. But then we didn't, and up till now, we still haven't seen any icebreaker as intended or as everyone hoped. And over the controversial issue of military option, people are still talking here in Nigeria. But in the papers this morning, we've also seen the federal government through its spokesperson Ajuri Ngelale saying that any decision as to the military intervention is not going to be a Tinubu affair. It's not going to be a president's decision, but Tinubu, but ECOWAS, because he said that he needed to stress that, looking at the narratives against any move in that regard. It said the narrative so far had been like it was the president's decision, and he says it is not. And after all, we're talking about a coalition of fellow heads of state on the matter. So naturally, each president, each leader is going to bring their own suggestion to the table, and everyone would agree. And of course, looking at the open door policy of the federal government, of the president, over state matters, national matters, it's not to be seen if you look at how Ajuri had said. But anyway, that's according to him. But of course, there's another meeting tomorrow, and it's expected that, and we've also heard that Mali and Burkina Faso will join the meeting. They too had, of course, given a cold stance against the ECOWAS, siding with Niger on the matter. But now that they are billed to attend, possibly we can, the world can get somewhere, and diplomacy can have its day. I take all the point about the issue of the risk that the military option could bring to Nigerians, especially IDPs who are seeking refuge in Niger, because that is also a factor that people have talked about. What happens to them? What happened to the Nigerian states? These are things worth considering. These are factors worth considering.
In fact, recall just yesterday we were looking through the papers, and one of the papers talked about the losses being incurred. We've seen a number of trucks with food items by the border. They can't cross over to Niger, and on the side of Niger, they cannot cross over to Nigeria. We have seen food items wasting away as it is. And so to talk about the damage that is being done economically is to say that it's something we cannot quantify as we speak. But then something has to give. If the U.S. has even gone ahead to say that Russia, through the Wagner Group, is taking advantage of the turmoil in the country because they had tried to say, guys, come to the table, let's have a conversation so that you can return to the democratic setting and bring back President Bazoum, who was ousted. And they are saying they are not having any conversation as it is. UN has gone ahead to say, but I'm wondering how far this sanction will go with breaking the confidence that the junta has as it is now, because there was a sanction initially, and they defied that.
Retaliated with their own sanctions.
So I'm wondering if there will be a retaliation with this new sanction coming on the board, what would change at the end of the day. But that is left to be seen. But something has to give at the end of the day, hoping that when the talks hold tomorrow, that we'll make some headway because this is not in the best interest of the Sahel as it is.
Absolutely, especially when the Nigerian side, now the current Nigerian leaders are riding on a wide support, from the population. But another analyst we spoke to yesterday said there are still a very important chunk of Nigerians, who are not on the side of the army. And all these people, all these sides also need to be projected as against the narrative that is being, pushed out there, that it's everyone in Niger who is in support of this, because it does, send signals, to the world about how we run democracy in this part of the world. And people need to also look at that while looking at the cons against while spotlighting ECOWAS. People also need to look at the ramifications of this move, what it means to democracy elsewhere, but within Africa. And there are lessons learned, the lessons that people should, take advantage of, through this saga, especially since it is yet another, ugly scenario within the same ECOWAS sub-region. And I want to believe that ECOWAS itself, ECOWAS leaders, will also not be unmindful of, these lessons and how it's another opportunity for them to also, make amends and
that has been
better governance.
Yes, that has been the concern for me, because while we were having the conversation yesterday, I was asking if these heads of states really tell themselves the truth with regards to governance and the dividends of democracy. We've had a string of coups in recent past, and it doesn't tell well of what democracy has been. Perhaps because that is why we are seeing these coups spring up, if you hear what these juntas say at the end of the day. And for those who are supporting, the military in Niger, a majority of them do not understand what it is for a coup to be in a country. I recall that one of our guests was speaking yesterday, talking about the coup that happened in Nigeria, how it is that a lot of persons could not benefit from government at the time. And so majority of them do not really understand. It's the narrative being sold to them that they are buying. They are thinking that that is the way forward. But then has there been an option outside of what they have known? And that is why perhaps they are embracing what is being sold to them as it is right now. So I believe that heads of state, African heads of state, as they meet, be it in the AU, ECOWAS, as they meet tomorrow, they begin to look themselves in the eye to tell themselves the truth. We need to do better when it comes to democracy if we really want democracy to thrive in the region.
And another concern, might just be the implications of this fresh round of sanctions on countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, because from the presidential spokesman, Mr. Ngelale, he had said that this round of sanctions are or is targeted at people or
supporters
entities,
of
right,
the Niger coup,
who support the Niger, and so it remains to be seen what impact that will have. I hope, and people are also saying that hope this is not going to create a spanner in the wheels of the much anticipated talks which are projected, or which people expect should end favorably, especially since so far nobody has been able to get round to the Niger leaders.
Right.